And we're back. Episode 58 of the Eric and Tony Show.
Hey,
with our guest, Mike Masilotti. Yeah, man, we've been trying to get you on for, you get sick with the vid, right?
Yeah, man. I went on the road and I knew I was going to get sick because literally I went to,
put it on your vision board, like must get ill.
Well, I went to Arkansas and everybody was sick and coughing and no one wore any masks. So like, I understand the don't wear a mask, like in the whole COVID, if you're whatever you feel, but when you are sick, it's like, that's when you would wear it.
Well, just don't
either
go out.
side.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, and then the people that fucking like cough without covering their mouths and shit. Like,
and that was everybody on the flight, dude. I'm just sitting there and I felt like an ass. I had a mask on more to like, I can't get, it's like, I want to tell them like, I'm not sick and I have shows this week and I can't get sick. And I still, it was the worst week. And I was like,
I do like wearing a mask on a flight though. Cause it's just like, I don't trust any of you fucking morons. You're all like, infected if you ask me.
I mean,
like,
the Asians figured it out a long time ago. They were doing that shit way before COVID. They're just like, if they're ever sick, they always wear masks even before that.
Polite,
They always do that shit.
It makes sense now. It's like, I know everyone's got masks now. It's not like, we all have it. Just throw it on when you don't feel good. Just like, if anything, it's like for y'all. Like, it's not for me. I was so annoyed. But
it's like socially acceptable too. Like, you just, they must be sick. You don't have to always assume it's COVID. Just like, they must be under the weather. What a nice person. They're not trying
That's
to.
how I've been feeling lately too. Is like, but then I always get to where you're at. Is like, if I see someone in like public, I'm like, stay home if you're sick. Like, but
I had to fucking correct some guy at Costco like the other day because I was with my kid and like he was like, just like this guy was like 65 years old, like he's 3/4 of the way to death, right? And just like coughs, open mouth, like. And I was like, my son goes, Dad, he didn't cover his mouth. I'm like, I know. I guess not everyone got the memo to like cover your mouth when you cough, and then we like passed him an aisle later, and then he like coughed, open mouth, and I was just like, hey, buddy, do you not like cover your mouth and stuff? And he kind of gave me a look. I'm like, yeah, dude, you're almost done with this experience of life. You haven't figured it out yet. And I was like, am I gonna get in a fight with like in a Costco right now? It's like some fucking old man, like a senior citizen retiree, because he doesn't know how to fucking be a person in public.
That's what I don't get is like, it's just the common sense stuff. I figured at some age, like when you're in your like mid 20s, late 20s, you should have common sense down.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing people at different ages, it's just like, oh, you still didn't get that.
But also too, like we all got like a crash course in that during like the COVID thing, right? So like washing your hands and all that kind of shit. And the amount of people I'll still see at like clubs and bars that just leave the bathroom out, wash with their hands, and they touch the handle. I'm like, God damn it! Now I got to find like some kind of fucking paper towel to grip the handle. Yeah, because your dumbass doesn't get like it wasn't just a temporary thing. Like, oh, I'm glad we're done with COVID. We can stop washing hands again. Like that was we should always keep that. That should be a standard.
Yeah, I always felt weird when the people at the crosswalk, I saw someone use their foot on it, and now I'm like, I'm never gonna touch that with my hand again.
Elbow, you got to do the elbow.
Yeah, some P foot is up on the crosswalk button.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to just,
There's like a lot of things about that. One, it's like an aggressive way to do it. Two, you're like going to break the button, so it's not going to work at some point in time. It's just like, and then you got the dog shit foot too.
Yeah.
It's just like,
it's real bad. They should just have like a motion sensor by now.
Yeah. I don't understand why like with the like crosswalk buttons and like the, the actual like toilets, in the stalls, why they don't have a foot pressing thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we have to touch the...
Yeah, it's
just that's
just
smart.
Like a little gas pedal thing.
Exactly. Fucking boom. Like,
lift the seat up. That's true.
Yeah, like handless. No one should be using the thing that they use to wipe their asshole with to like
your shit paw is now touching that fucking thing, or like someone's dirty shoes touching it, and then you still break the fucking Sloan valve.
I think that too, like if you're using a restroom, like a public restroom, and then you have to grab the toilet paper, like did the person that grabbed this toilet paper last, like were they clean about it? Were they like grabbing a fucking shitty handful of toilet paper? So I'll take that first like few runs of it and just fucking rip it and just fucking throw it in the garbage. So I don't even want anything. I'm not risking any fucking chance.
That's smart, man.
Yeah, I'm like,
get that new
that
cut.
guy could have been like weird or done something.
I never thought about that. That's smart.
Yeah, I just lower all my expectations when I leave my apartment, basically. Like with everything, I'm just like, okay, I'm going out amongst like people, and most of them are fucking stupid, so here we go. And then it's just usually like one disappointment after the next, and then I just stay inside most of the time and don't go out. You guys are always out doing shows and like seeing people and interacting, which is, I think, is crazy.
Yeah. like, I don't like going to the bathroom in public though, even just like to piss or whatever, because I don't know the situation. Like at the store, like they have that one. I went to the bathroom upstairs, and they have a stall that like is literally like a barn door.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
And you're just like in this, and people can just walk in and wash their hands, and you're
and
just
then
like,
if you go in the stall to like give someone the option to go in the urinal, it's just like there's a bunch of weird like dynamics when it comes to like public bathrooms, right? Like the gym too. I go to like the LA Fitness on Hollywood, obviously you can tell. And there's like the way the sauna is, like you could look, there's always some creepy ass dude that's staring right down the fucking line, and you can like he's trying to look down and see, like it's weird.
He's sending you the signal and shit. He's like,
yeah, but it's like, do you see this just like this figure of a man standing in a fucking behind a glass window, just looking at people standing like pissing in a bank of urinals. That's one creepy thing. But then there's the dynamic when you come in, there's like 4 urinals. And like position 1's filled, position 3's filled. So you either have the option of 2 or 4, and 4 is like a little handicap one right by the creepy guy in the glass. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I think this guy looks like he might have been here longer. So I'll like kind of, you know, buddy up to next to him. And I'm like, and then there's like this kind of look like as if I'm the weird guy. I'm like, I don't know. I got to fucking piss. Like,
but I've walked in and out of so many bathrooms because there's too many dudes in there. Yeah. Like that, I look like a weirdo. Like, what are you just checking out of the bathroom for a second? Exactly. Yeah. I walk around once, like assess it. Like, nah, not me, not me.
Well, that like just going into the bathroom and then using a urinal, like the force of piss that comes out when you're pissing in a urinal, like if you're just watching your piss hit the urinal, you're like, oh, there's like back spray. So you're getting like piss particles of other, and it's just fucking gross.
Oh,
like,
dude, I went to that Limp Bizkit concert and the bathroom overflowed, and I literally was standing in like this much water while I was taking it.
That wasn't water. That was,
bro. I was like almost throwing up. I had my face in my shirt. It was but I was like drunk and had to pee, and it's just like, this is it, man. You have to. This is the only time. Like it was brutal.
Yeah,
like I'm getting too old. Like they need to have like concerts for like people like under a certain age and over a certain age. Yeah. It's like, you guys are young. You don't give a fuck, man. You guys are.
They should just have VIP bathrooms. I'd gladly pay extra $20 for a ticket with a better bathroom, dude.
That's a great idea. Fuck the VIP ticket. It's VIP bathroom, dude.
Yeah.
I'm with that, dude. I'm with that.
Yeah, like Porta Johns or like any of that kind of stuff. You're like, you know, it's just.
Porta Johns is like probably the worst place to shit.
And like fucking piss and shit.
I would rather shit in a hole and piss in a hole than fucking in a Porta John, because you use the splash back. I don't know if you ever had to like take a shit in a Porta John.
No,
but doing construction, it is the worst. Like it's the only bathroom you have.
It's always like full of shit and piss, and you're like
actually better
pissing on shit, and it's
when
just
you're
like,
shitting on top of shit, because when it's an empty one, it's just fluid, and a fucking poop goes down and it splashes back. You're like, I just got every disease known to man. Like fucking
shit raindrops on your ass from fucking.
My buddy was hanging out with this girl last week, and he told me, he was like, they were like, she's like, yo, do you want to get out of here and like for them to like hook up a little bit? So he's like in his car, he's like, so I'm driving around to find a spot to hook up. And then he's like, so I drive by a fucking porter potty, and he points to the girl. He's like, is that cool?
No.
And luckily the girl said, no, just drop me. And she like made him bring her home. She's like, I'm done with this date.
That's hilarious.
He's some dumb comic, because they're like, bro, your car was the place. Just park wherever.
Yeah. Only there was a place.
It's like, bro, you earned the place.
Yeah. You're already there.
You pointed at a porter potty.
Next time I'll find a better place. Like some people are conceived in cars. You know
bro, exactly. Oh man, I was so disgusted. I was like, I told him, I was like, bro, I don't like going in there to piss. You're going in there to hook up with somebody?
Yeah. Fucking gross, man.
So gross.
I have had sex in random places and shit like that, but a Porta John is never an option. No,
I could not.
Unless it was the handicap one that you can get a whole wheelchair in there. You know what I mean? Maybe that would work, but even for the most part. I did want to bring up that Limp Bizkit concert though.
Yeah,
because I was talking to Avery about that shit, and you guys saw fucking one of the Corys there.
I did. You know what's funny is I got there at like, I heard his set while I was walking in.
Oh, so Corey Feldman?
They made him play stupid early. He played like first, like at like 6 p.m. or 5 p.m.
It's like noon.
Yeah, it was unreal,
like
man.
Light
yeah, it was bright out when he played.
How was his guitar solo? Did he do it?
He did. It was very bad.
Awesome.
And the best part was that when Limp Bizkit played, he came out on stage and was like dancing Michael Jackson to Limp Bizkit
which
music.
Is even better.
It was so amazing.
As bad as that sounds, it's also something I think everybody wanted to see.
You know
what I mean? Like it's like a spectacle.
Oh yeah, when he came out, literally everybody was pointing to the side stage, and you could just see him. He kept going slower and slower out onto the stage till like he was like behind Wes Borland on guitar. You see Corey Feldman dancing.
That's
it's
hilarious.
Like amazing.
Yeah,
just moonwalks out there and shit.
Just trying to pick up the Limp Bizkit energy, because he trying to get the headliner energy when he's playing at like 6 p.m. Because when he's there, like people are still just funneling in.
Yeah.
And like but he was like,
I feel bad for those like those big shows, and there's like big 4 or 6 bands, whatever it is, and that opener set like gets like a shitty fucking turnout. I went and saw Green Day at SoFi a few weeks ago, right?
Oh, cool.
It was dope, man. But I wanted to see Rancid, and there was like another band, Linda Linda's before them, and then it's like, so it's Linda Linda's, Rancid, Smashing Pumpkins, then Green Day, right? And we got there fucking because of Folly Bears, like right as like Rancid's like coming off stage. I'm like, fuck, man. That was like one of the first concerts I went to. Green Day was the first concert, then Rancid. So I was like, cool. I could see like, you know, two of these bands I fucking like, you know, kind of popped my cherry to 30 years ago, you know, now it's an old man.
You gotta get there early as hell, because I don't even know.
But the thing is this, though, they were fucking playing to like an empty stadium and shit. Like, I felt bad for Rancid because there was like no one there, and I'm like, this is like, don't like take this as a, you know, like a look on like your fucking popularity. It's LA, everyone's late.
Exactly,
even
it's a time of day.
Yeah, but like no one is fucking there yet. Even when Smashing Pumpkins went on, they're still playing to like a half empty SoFi, which is like fucking depressing.
Yeah,
that's a giant venue. And finally, when Green Day went on, they had like everybody there. It was fucking packed, dude.
Back to your
cool
Corey Feldman experience though, like how like was the show, like how was his like set? And
see, I only heard it walking in really, but it didn't sound, honestly, it sounded like not great, but it just sounded like I was listening to it out like a CD. They said like he just plays to over like dubbed stuff and stuff, so I didn't get to see his guitar solo.
He's got to dance, Eric. He can't play live music.
He's very
good on him though. I mean, great actor of our generation. Yeah. I wish he would do some more. I bet he could kill it as like an actor if he got like really serious about it again, because he was like brilliant as a kid actor. Like he was so good.
Yeah, I think he just he's one of those dudes that actually lost his marbles a little bit. So it's like I don't think he can hone a little. Like when you talk to some people that I'm like, oh, you're doing really good, and you talk to them, it's like, that's why you're not bigger. Okay. Like not in a dick way. I just don't think you could line it up the way you need to line it up, because he feels like he thinks he's already like, he had Limp Bizkit energy as like a 6 p.m. guy. You know what I mean? And it was like, bro, you think you're still, you know, like, but people it's weird. Like they wanted to see him more than like anybody other than Limp Bizkit. So why not just play him later anyway?
Yeah. Right.
Like he's not as good as the other bands that he played after.
Who else is on the lineup?
Oh shit. Who was it? It was a couple rappers I never heard of. And then some guy who was like, it was like noise music, and he played like a weird, honestly, dude, it sounded like something you see at an open mic.
It's hilarious.
Like a little sound box thing, and he was warping it, and he would just start screaming death metal, like really brutal death metal. And it was
got
like
top billing over Corey Feldman.
Bro, he went, and I was thinking that the whole time, like, why this guy's, it's like, this is really not good. Like, am I just that guy that loses touch? Because I'm like, I don't get this. Yeah. And he was a really nice guy, and by the end of the set, you were kind of laughing at how bad the music was, that you kind of liked him, because he kept being like, I'm scared as shit, man. He was like foreign. He's like, this is the scariest moment of my life. And he kept playing it because like it was just so like, I don't know how I got this job. For real. He kept saying like, I'm so grateful. This is so scary, guys. I'm shaking.
This is the first and last time I'm ever doing this.
Yeah. And then he just keeps screaming like, whoa, like crazy death metal shit. It was wild, man.
What if he wasn't even supposed to sound like that? He was just freaking out. He's like, I don't do it. Couldn't tune his fucking shit off.
Yeah. And everyone was laughing. That was the funny thing, is like, while I'm looking around, people are like nodding their head, but it's like this laughing nod. I'm like, is he good, or is everybody just so into like, all right, he's a nice guy, let's just keep giving him, because there's no way.
Real supportive crowd.
It was weird, man. That billing was weird. Like it should have been.
Where was this at?
The Glen Helen Amphitheater or something. It was deep, like San Bernardino. It was deep. But like it was also like the billing could have been so much more of like all these nostalgia shows. Limp Bizkit should have done that with like 3 or 4 other bands that just weren't as big. But around that, like In Flames.
In Flames, dude.
Like people,
dope. You've seen them before?
They were great. No.
Wait, they're on the show?
No. But I'm saying like that would have been like these.
That would have been insane.
Like, who else is like whenever they were big? I'm trying to think of bands that were big when they were. It's like
I saw Limp Bizkit for the Family Values tour in like the late 90s. It was fucking Ice Cube, Limp Bizkit, Korn.
Was it Stained on that?
Steen might have been on that.
Because I was like, I remember the Aaron Lewis where it played the guitar.
Aaron Lewis, like they got some fucking bangers, but it is the most boring show to ever see, because it's just like this fucking like fat dude just sitting on a stool playing depressing ass songs and shit, and like it was always a lot of hottest chicks there and shit.
Like, isn't that weird?
Yeah, dude.
Because they all cried to him when they were cutting growing up. You know,
shit. They're fucking like
they were like dealing with all their emotions, and Aaron Lewis was it wasn't some good looking guy that they were like doing it to. They look back at just some fucking big fat dude. It's been a while.
Fucking get the little Dixie razor out to fucking slice some wrists and shit. Yeah, man. It was like but that was a great fucking genre, man. I think like a lot of those, it's cool to see some of those bands coming back, and like, you know, they're all like kind of like forming like Voltron and tagging up with other bands and stuff. Like, you know,
who's the one band that like you that isn't like really doing that you'd want to see? Like from when you grew up, they were just like, oh man, I wish these guys would just
Well, Oasis is coming back. I've never seen Oasis. Yeah, one of our buddies is from the UK, and he went back there right when the tickets were released, and he was 3 minutes late on the ticket. He said he was 250,000 in the queue to get a ticket. After 3 minutes.
Oh my god!
So it's like they're playing at Wembley Stadium. And it just sold out immediately. Woo. So if they ever come to the States, I would really like to go see them. Hopefully they play at the Bowl or maybe SoFi or something. I don't know, like what.
Yeah, some of these dudes, like the money is just so like they don't realize like all the kids that grew up now have money. So it's like they were
saying like if they do, they're gonna make $500 million on this fucking set of 5 shows, right? Yeah. Which is like almost more than they made their entire fucking time touring back then.
I was gonna say, how much did they even make in their careers?
Dude, there was like we talked about their documentary a few weeks ago on the podcast and shit, but like just the fact that those dudes like within like a 2-year span, like I've known you for fucking like 7-8 years at this point, right? And like we didn't fucking blow up and do shows in front of 250,000 people in 2 years. Like that's insane. Like there's like to the point of like they had like shoes that they were wearing from their rehearsal studio that hadn't worn out yet. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just fucking crazy, the time frames of that shit, man.
Yeah,
that's definitely a band that I'd want to see. I still want to see Korn live. I haven't seen.
They're playing in a couple weeks. I haven't seen them, but I'm gonna go see them.
Where?
I don't have the exact, but it's in like 2 weeks because it's right before I'm going on the road, and like it's Korn's Saturday, so it's I think next Saturday.
One of my friends was at the show, and I'm like, oh, they must be playing a show, but I don't know if they're like in a different country or a different state.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I've never seen them, and I was like, all right, that's another one I want to see before
my bucket list.
Someone like dies in the big, especially once an original member like passes or just isn't gonna link up.
That was the coolest thing about Green Day, man. Is they're like a trio, and there's just fucking seeing all of them together, still like fucking like 30 some years into it and shit. But when I saw Korn, there was like the Family Values tour with him.
Yeah, it's unreal.
And they had that Follow the Leader album. They had like the fucking they came out for that song and showed that like So there's a lot of cool shit. Like I like that kind of cool like nostalgia collaboration stuff. But like,
what's yours? Like other than Limp Bizkit being one of them, obviously. But like,
well, I guess mine would be like System of a Down. They only play like once a year. Oh, really? But I wish they would go on like a tour. They're doing like one festival a year, and that's it. And it's always like it was Sick New World the last 2 years, but it's like like they just don't really get along anymore, and they have like creative differences. But then I guess he's like his back is all fucked. That's what a lot of those guys like. They're headbanging and jumping off shit. Like their backs are all fucked up. And but yeah, I would love them to go on a tour. I'd go watch them multiple times. Like Blink-182 was one with Tom, and he came back. Yeah, and I was like, that was a huge one because like when they lost him, it's like, oh, this isn't the same band.
It was interesting having like the dude from Alkaline Trio in there instead, because like they're such a dark, macabre band.
Yeah,
and, like fucking Blink-182, so poppy punk. And it's just, and I like Alkaline Trio a lot too. Like that's a band that I've seen a few times. System of a Down, we've seen a bunch of times.
Yeah. Like, really? I've only seen them once, and it was fucking great.
My brother-in-law is like the drummer from Disturbed and shit. So like they would do, like switch headlining and shit a lot. And stuff. Their ex-brother-in-law, Mike, whatever. But like
Nonpoint, Flyleaf, those was like my favorite shows because they're like kind of under the radar, like not giant bands. But
Nonpoint's
like,
great.
Yeah, Nonpoint's so fucking great.
So much energy. They're great.
10 years though, dude. 10 Years was a band that opened for fucking like they're from like Florida.
They were way good.
Their debut album is fucking solid. Like their subsequent shit's pretty cool too. But like probably one of the coolest fucking. Just a good like kind of muddy flow and stuff, and like they're a heavier band, but like melodic vocals and stuff. Kind of like the later stuff with In Flames, right?
Okay,
and then they kind of like the
his singing
Mirror's Truth, right? Kind of got a little bit more like but they were like one of those bands that was like a studio band that didn't really tour that much, and then they broke up, and I was like, fuck, I'll never see them. And then like they ended up going out on the road with Disturbed a few years ago, and I actually went on the road for like a couple days with them just to kind of ride to some shows and shit, and got a chance to fucking hang and see those dudes and shit, and like
that's so dope,
fucking band, man.
Yeah, music stuff. Like I'm very trying to go to more music. So I grew up playing in bands and doing all that, but never did anything gnarly fun and like big. But like it is like the nostalgia, but also just. It's just so different. Like I went to that new No Values with like Misfits and all these old bands. I didn't realize how many old punk bands I even knew. Yeah. And you watch their sets and you're like, oh, this is them. And then it's all and everyone was like in their 60s, these old 70s, like old ass dudes coming out and murdering. Dude. Yeah. I saw Iggy Pop was I wanted to see him
so bad. I was so fucking bummed about that. It was like
I couldn't believe how good Iggy. It was like I was just gonna watch a song and bounce. And I was just like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, dude. He's like the OG of all that shit, man.
It was like progressive death metal shit. I sang in the band, but I played sang in the band too? Yeah.
That's what cool. I was a singer too in
a
death metal band too.
Very fun. Yeah.
I wasn't like a screamer though. I couldn't do it. I was like that was a funny thing that I was like in this band that was like, they're like, all right, now do the screamo stuff. I'm like, I can't. I'm like a singer. I could just sing. That stuff I can't do. So my guitars or somebody else in the band would do like
that's so
crazy
funny.
shit. So
yeah, no, we were like Black Dahlia Murder.
Okay.
Like that was like our like big favorite band as a group. We like tried to emulate them a lot. Like that was like very just aggressive metal.
Yeah.
But it was great. We played for like years. And then, that's actually I started doing stand up because we were supposed to play for Sumerian Records to like just try out for the thing.
Yeah.
And then we like got locked out of our band space because no one was paying on time. And like I quit the band. We just never played again. And then like that month I went to an open mic. And I was like, let me go up. And then I started just doing stand up and just it's been that since. So I wish I got to play music.
You don't have to rely on anyone else, man. It's a solo fucking act, dude.
Yeah.
You just basically get you and your own fucking drive.
Of going back into music or starting a band or doing anything?
Yeah, but I always feel bad that like it's going to be hard to choose. Like if I have an amazing opportunity with stand up on a weekend and then the band is like, hey, we got offered this great tour.
Yeah.
I would never let them down. So I'd fuck my comedy career over to make sure I don't bum out this because I feel like a team.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I don't know if that's smart to do.
Yeah.
So like I've been wanting to like jam again and do stuff. So I might play like bass in something that's simpler where it's like not like I don't know, I can show up and learn everything and just do whatever, but not be like I feel bad if I was like leading the band and then just be telling them like, hey, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Do you enjoy performing comedy more or music more, or is it like kind of the same or different?
Music is way better.
Yeah,
it's a team thing.
Yeah,
I don't like solo. Like I like doing the solo stuff because you don't have anyone holding you back.
Right.
But it's all a team. Anything is like. You guys like just working with like even you guys do a pod together. It's and just having so when you're in a band, like if the show sucks, we all look at each other like this fucking sucks.
But not just on your own shoulders. Like fuck, I suck.
Yeah. Or it's just anything that's happening. It's like you're always together during it. It just feels like I work harder because I don't want to let them down, and I'd rather let myself down. And it's like, but yeah, just playing in a band, but not having to bring gear with you everywhere. Not having to like do sound checks and do all like just getting up.
Pros and cons for sure. I imagine.
But the actual show, it's like music is like 10 times better. Like it's like people jumping up and down and just going nuts in a room, just like it's just when you're doing stand up, everyone's just sitting there, usually eating loud food. You know what I mean? And shit. It's like no one's eating in front of me when we're playing music. They're fucking dancing and jumping around and like holding their drinks like this so it doesn't get knocked over. You know, I like that vibe a lot more. But it's like finding, and the music I played was so like we barely repeated riffs in our songs. So like when we lost a guitar player, it took us like a year to get another one. Oh, wow. Just learning everything was so impossible. So then it was just like, man, this is, I don't know if we could be doing this at like, it was, and like, and then any band that we were talking about, like Green Day, like if any band that stays together with the original members for that long, this is a miracle.
Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely, dude.
How did you guys do that?
Yeah, it is really incredible when you think about it.
I was like tripping on
how
that,
life,
man.
like, like you're like, one thing is when you're all like at a young age doing it, but then like you grow up and people get married or they want to have kids,
exactly,
families, or like different careers, or they get like tempted by like a career that makes a lot of money. So like, one guy's making has an opportunity to do this that could change his whole life. But then like, you have to,
I'm gonna have my own kiosk at the mall for cell phones. I got
there's all these things that pull you away from each other. So like, it is really a miracle to see like these bands that have been together. Now, granted, maybe they've had some success that encouraged them to keep together. Keep
but
pushing.
still, they keep agreeing on these crazy tours and these lengths of tour. And it's all the same guys. And you're like, it's the same guys. Like, man, that is
that's pretty cool.
Unreal, unreal, dude. So good on them, because people don't realize it's like, just the small arguments on like, and especially like directions of music, direction of where you, because like when you start out, it's like, let's play this, but now it's like 10 years later, you don't want to sound the same. So it's like now you guys have to all agree on how you change your sound and how you guys elevate. It's like, man, it's rough. I think hopefully there's no drugs or alcohol mixed in, because then that's another game.
It's so true, dude, man. There's like so many variables that you have to kind of like, you really have to become this team and be unified and like focus on the same thing. And not be too opinionated on like a riff or a chord or a thing or what everybody's saying, and kind of like, okay, like I'll you can have that chord, but then I want to say this thing, and like you have to compromise a lot. Like I grew up playing, team sports my whole life, and I enjoyed those team sports. I never really did individual sports, but I found that same kind of appreciation for bands when I joined bands and was playing. I was like, oh, this is just like a sport. We're like, all right, we're in this team together. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna, do our best. And everybody's got their own little job to do. And you work together. So I've always been kind of like the mediator. I felt in any of the bands I've been in and been pretty passive and aware of like, oh, my drummer's got to lug all of his fucking gear, and I'm gonna be the singer that,
me too.
that
helped
always is helping
and put
all
it
the
together.
guys, and like in all my bands, I was never the had lead singer disease and sitting back and just
let me know when the gear's unloaded, boys.
Yeah, when I need to go on stage. I was always the guy sweating and lifting the shit and doing all the stuff for those guys.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that Jane's Addiction reunion show that fucking
he went after Navarro?
Oh yeah, dude.
Dave Navarro. And,
it's so funny though, because Dave Navarro, I appreciate being staying true to your image and shit, but it was extremely funny though seeing fucking what's Perry Farrell or whatever come at him, and he's got his little fucking teary makeup down, and he's like, hey man, just fucking he just goes to show your age, and it's just all right guys, you're fucking too old for all this shit, right? And the weird fucking makeup theatrics and shit, but then also the fact that you're drunk on stage and they're tuning up the music to kind of drown out your vocals and shit. Yeah.
It's you're one of the best vocalists ever. You're an icon to people, and you're just drunk and ruining it. They just lost so much money. They had to cancel dates. Are they still? Did they cancel the rest of the tour?
I think I saw something where they he sent an apology and was like, I was out of line and blah blah, and they made up because sure
they canceled the next couple shows.
Yeah, there's a couple shows that got canceled, and I think after that they were like,
there's too much money, man. For everyone, they're just come on, guys.
This enough money to fucking make you say sorry and just fucking squash this, and they're like, just fucking do it.
Yeah, because they're playing wasn't it stadiums, right, or arenas? They're playing giant venues.
Yeah, they're definitely playing pretty big shows and stuff.
Yeah, so those guys, at that point, it's
I couldn't imagine how mortifying that must be. You're on stage and imagine the drummer is not even in it, or the bass player, and they're just what the fuck? We're fucked.
Yeah.
You're making me look like a fucking idiot
dude.
right now.
That's it. It's even Tenacious D when what's his face went off about I forgot what it was, some politics shit.
Yeah.
But it was that's the other thing about being in a band is you got to hope that the other guy with a microphone between the songs doesn't say some crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
Because you got to look at it and it's ha, ha, ha. Old Pantera stuff's coming out where that guy's just saying these mega racist rants and stuff.
No shit.
And then you see Dimebag and the other guys are just all right, let's start the song. Let's not hear about what Phil's drunk ass has to say about minorities in this place. What are we talking about?
And another thing,
his take on minorities.
It's crazy. So you also have to realize that it's man, you guys have to be so in tune.
Yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't that much of a shocker. I'm pretty sure he had a Confederate flag guitar when they were playing half the time too.
Oh yeah. But it's so funny.
Definitely playing to their audience at that point. But another great band though.
Yeah, dude. I listened to some podcast on Dave Navarro and shit, and because I don't really care for fucking Jane's Addiction. That was never really my band growing up.
Yeah, same. I have to second that. I would say I like Dave Navarro more from Ink Masters.
Yeah,
he was in the Peppers for a minute, right?
He was,
because he played guitar, but everyone was bummed because the original guitar player was the guy.
Yeah.
So it's they got Dave Navarro. What?
Yeah.
So I remember for a while they had him. So I was all right.
But he kind of blew up at a young age. But his fucking mom got murdered, dude. When he was a kid, he was 17. His fucking his mom had some fucking crazy ass boyfriend, right? He came home one time and he was by himself, and all of a sudden he heard something upstairs, and he saw the dude breaking in the sliding door. Yeah, so he fucking hides, and then he acted like he just got home. He's like, "Mom, are you here?" And then the guy came down. She was like, "Oh, hey, Dave, I just your mom told me to come check on somebody." He knew the guy was fucking bullshitting him. And then 2 weeks later, he came home and the guy fucking was there with a gun and fucking was handcuffs Dave Navarro to the back of a toilet seat and shit. God. So Dave Navarro's fucking head's in the toilet bowl and shit that. And all he hears is his fucking mom and this guy arguing and shit. He's like, "Oh God, I hope he doesn't kill my mom. He's gonna fucking kill me and shit that." And then luckily his mom talks him off the ledge. He unhandcuffs him and shit, but she doesn't press charges. And then 2 weeks later, he fucking murders the mom. So this guy fucking goes on the run, right? So this is right when Dave Navarro's career starts to fucking take off. So this guy's on the run.
So this is while he's becoming Dave Navarro.
Yeah. So he gets pulled over for drunk driving in LA, right? And the cop's he's like, "Hey, I'm, fucking Mrs. Navarro's son, my mom just died." So the cops let him off, drunk driving underage and shit that, because his mom just got murdered and shit. So this is also when he's starting to fucking make a name for himself. So cut to a couple years later, he's fucking doing shows and he starts getting into heroin, a little more aggressively because he's fucking got these weird demons, and he's like, every time he looks out in the audience, he's like, that guy could be out there, waiting.
Oh, because he was still not.
Because he was on the lam,
God,
dude. So,
dude,
they end up fucking like doing like unsolved mysteries about the fucking case or America's Most Wanted or some shit, and someone tipped off that the guy was in Texas, and they ended up fucking like raiding the guy's house and find him. He got in some plastic surgery done. The guy was like fucking like full on fucking undercover on the run, yeah. And the guy had a copy of America's Most Wanted in his VCR that he had like watched and shit, like so. Yeah, man. So Dave Navarro ends up going to fucking like the prison and fucking like confronts the guy about his murdering his mom and shit.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I would want some closure too. I mean, like, now the guy's fucking like housed away like the animal that he is. Like, hey, dude, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but
well, also too, can you imagine how fucking like, yeah, well, that's the thing. So like, as much as I don't like the guy's music and I just generally don't like his,
no, I don't think he's like a bad person or anything.
No, I fucking feel the guy. Like he's,
yeah,
Dave Navarro, you're a good guy in my book.
Yeah,
that's right. I didn't know that. That's rough, man.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
You hurt. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, now I know more why he's such a tortured soul a little bit.
For real, dude. Yeah, man.
Like that's
fucking
crazy,
trying to balance those demons, dude. And then you got this other fucking asshole getting drunk. It's just like, come on, man. Can I just have an easy fucking run?
I know,
we're trying to do a radio show.
Got that
people that want,
Angel
man.
Street magic look going on.
Trying to make fucking Jerry disappear.
My brother's all tattooed, like his face and shit, and he does those suspensions where people put hooks in their back and hang and shit. And he went to Dave Navarro and Carmen Electra's place last year to do. They're
still together.
I don't know if they're still together, but they were like it was like a party they threw. They might be homies or whatever.
Okay.
But I think they might still be together. But yeah, but they just set up like a suspension area because they're all like weird.
Yeah.
So they like did that.
That's pretty unusual.
So like at the party, my bro was like, yeah, him and his buddies were just doing like suspensions, and there were people just all hanging out and talking. And it was like in Hollywood, like a really nice area, like the hills in a really nice neighborhood.
Can you imagine trying to like get people to come to that party? Like, hey, what are you doing Saturday? I'm gonna have some people over, get some wine, people hanging from the ceiling.
Going to a suspension mixer.
Got a couple people come over, hang from the ceiling, hooks in their back.
That's just crazy. I filmed my brother and his buddies doing it when I started my videography shit in Seattle. He was just like, yo, come through. We're in this beautiful park. There's this tree. We're gonna suspend from it, look over the city. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty brutal.
Is that legal?
Yeah.
You can just like hook.
Yeah, bro. It's vicious. Yeah, apparently. Because I don't even know if the law knows about it. Like, I bet if people knew, they'd be like, no,
it's not
to
loitering, really, because you're,
yeah, like, no to it. But there's like these giant hooks.
Yeah.
And they just fucking shove them right in these fools' backs and stuff. And they just pull them up.
There's got to be blood, right? There's a lot of blood.
Not a lot, bro.
Yeah.
It is so crazy. But like, I was trying to focus the camera and film these shots. And I was like passing out. I was like, bro, I cannot look at this. Like, this is so vicious, man.
Yeah.
And there was this little set of like small hooks on the table. And I was like, all right, well, those weren't used. And I was like, what are those hooks for? My brother goes, that was in case you wanted to try. It's like, oh yeah, man. Like, you're out of your, you think I'm just going to be like, you know what, dude? Yeah, throw those little guys in my back. Let me yank myself
fish hooks in.
But do they pull themselves up?
Yeah, he's done it. Other people usually pull you up, but my brother's done it where he pulls himself up off the ground.
How did he get into that?
Because he's just a psycho, man. He's got his face tattooed, his tongue split. He's got like weird implants in his arms that are stuff. Like, he's like into body modification.
Does he live out here?
Part time. He's a piercer. So right now he's on the road doing stuff.
Wow.
But he's been doing that since he was like a kid. Like,
Since he was like in 5th grade.
But for real, like, he was always like since I knew my brother, he was like tattooed and pierced. And
First
shit.
kid
Like,
with a face tattoo in 5th grade.
How much older is he than you?
12 years older.
Okay.
He's the oldest. I'm the youngest. But he was like, yeah, he's wild, man. Those like he's got this pain tolerance of like. It's ridiculous. He's like one of those dudes that like his buddy got stabbed because they were in like a gang, and he'd like show up at my brother's house. My brother would like sew him up because he was one of like he's like a peer, like, I'm like, bro, I can't even look at a needle, dog.
Yeah,
and like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw the movie The Substance. It's like, if you don't like needles, don't watch that movie, dude. It's like there's complete shot cuts of just needles constantly going into people. And like, bro,
Just fucking pass it out again.
bro, I'm sitting there with all this food from Porto's, feeling like I did great. Like, I'm at this movies theater. I got all this food. I almost threw up like 3 times. I'm like moving the food away from me. Like, bro, this movie sucks. And it's like 2.5 hours,
That's
bro.
hilarious.
People are like, oh, it's really good. It's like, bro, this is a weird, it was
Different
weird,
definitions
man.
of good.
Yeah, man. I told this girl I was like kind of seeing, like, dude, there's a lot of needles. She's like, oh, she's German. She's like, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's just good.
Good.
The
Needles are good.
Yeah.
So what do your parents say, or like, how is it when you do like, family? I'm assuming if you do like family dinners, or like if for holidays or birthdays. Or
I mean, they had to give in at some point.
Right. So it's like,
My brother's like 50. Like, they hate it.
But they obviously accept him, and they're
they're cool. My family's really, that's the one thing is everyone's like, no, like everyone loves him, and then everyone's like, oh, it's weird. Like my dad's mega religious, but he'll have my brother show up like, this is my son, like all happy about it, and everyone's at church is like, this guy looks like a mom. But my brother's like an ex-gang member. Yeah, looks like a monster, and but he's the sweetest guy. He's vegan. He's like all about like, like really. It's like he's like really smart and shit, but he just looks like a fucking beast.
That's awesome. I think that's so cool. Like I just picture like coming down for Christmas morning, opening up presents and shit, and like you got the family together, and he's like all got a split tongue and
bro, it's crazy
and all this stuff.
He went to Thailand. He was living there for a while. He does like scuba diving and stuff, and he got one of those like hand. Hammer things, like a prayer down the side of his face, like giant. I mean, the whole side of his head, bro. And it's just like, didn't that hurt? Crazy. Like down here, he's like, oh yeah, it was really brutal. He just puts up with pain. Like
good on him, man.
It's crazy, man.
Living his own life.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Cool, man.
It's wild, bro. I couldn't fucking. That shit's ridiculous. Yeah, but it's cool he's doing it.
You got a lot of tattoos though, so are you okay with when you get the needles on you?
Yeah, but a tattoo needle's a little different. Yeah. You don't see it. It's like in a machine. It's like I mean, like if I like, I don't know, I feel like it's not going in. It's like really not going that deep. Yeah, like when I like a needle is like, sucking stuff out of me or whatever. It's like get out of here with that.
Yeah, donating blood, man, is like, I've like. Yeah, I had to like did that for like a comedy like blood drive and shit, and like I was waiting forever to get in there to a fucking bed, and I finally get in, and you just kind of like you're a little aware of how long people have been chilling there for. The chick fucking like I have like rolling veins, so she's like takes her fucking like 9 times to finally prick one. So she finally does it, and I look like a junkie because I have like fucking 9 other holes around this one, right? Yeah, exactly. And then like. I just like it starts fucking like pumping through real fast, and this little pouch it looks like it's about to burst. I'm like, hey, like are we doing like several of these or like is this the one and done? She's like, I'm like, I think I'm done. Or she's like, no, we just started. There's no way you're done. I'm like, and I look and she's like, oh, you are done. I'm like, yeah, lady, what the fuck is going on here? Because like there's other people that must just be
the slow
bleeders and shit. God, and I'm like, must be like a
they might be tensing up. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do any of that. I cut my face shaving and stuff, and like that was already like too much for me, dog. I mean, yeah, for real. I was like, that's the thing that's
like a fainting couch in your bathroom.
That's smart, dude. I should, but like not to be too. My buddy passed out and hit his face on the sink, knocked his teeth out, split his eye. It's like that. I'm like terrified of like, and bro. He was just like. He was all fucked up, but he like woke up like at his homie's house and he was like different. You're just like his whole life. My mom's like, he looks like a melting candle now. It's just like his eyes it's crazy, bro. Yeah, it's just like, he's like, I just woke up. And I was like, oh no. And he was like, whoa.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, fainting couch, bro. That's genius.
Yeah, if you want to have a good time, go to the emergency room at like a Cedars-Sinai. They are like super understaffed. I was fortunate enough to experience that like last year. A fainting thing happened, and so I go there and I'm like standing in like the waiting room, and there's literally like people in there that are like bleeding. They have broken arms, and I'm like, hey, how long have you been here? They're like, oh, I've been here for like 9 hours, and I'm like. You're like bleeding, and like there's like
are you gonna
blood,
make it?
There's a blood trail to like your seat, and I'm like, what happened to you? I'm like, I fainted. They're like, oh, like
life was too stressful.
My body shut down. Life is just
it's getting too real right now.
I'm just not feeling it today.
Can you close all the windows down?
Exactly.
Hard drive got a little hot.
I was like astonished, and then like finally like I was there for like 13 hours. And they don't have enough staff and enough rooms in the hospital to like treat everybody. So they have like a military tent in the parking lot. That's and I'm hilarious. Like, they're like, you're ready to see you. And I'm like, that's where I came in. Why am I going out there for that? That's where you're getting all your blood drawn and all your stuff. And I'm like, what? And I'm
got a bed down with a dumpster if you want to get in there.
It was like the show MASH, like this mock like setup thing.
It's like helicopters landing for no reason.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And at this point, you just got to date a doctor. Yeah, that's really it. It's just like, don't like, I mean, I don't think I'm feeling like it. You can check me out. Like, Cause I don't do hot. Like, I don't even just going there. I just instantly start feeling like shit. Even if I'm healthy, I walk into a hospital. I'm like, oh, I just feel like this is bad. Like everything in here is just not it.
You feel better about yourself when you go into a hospital. Because like everyone is like literally just dying. Everyone is
they got some brutal stuff.
In the worst fucking just everyone's just old and gross, and you're young and
you
broken.
look like you're trying.
Yeah, like everyone's just fucked up.
Just bring your kids just to the doctor. Be like, look how fucking good you
So I
have.
was going to take my kid, dude. I'm like, man, like, because I have to, like, kind of gas up. I'm like, oh, the doctor's office is great and shit like that. And like the first time he really knew he was getting a shot, he hates the doctor's office now. And so he still doesn't mind the dentist that much, but like, yeah, like the first time he gets his tooth drilled, he's gonna hate that shit, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, take him in the back of the fucking emergency room. Then everyone just like on these gurneys in the hallway. They put me on a gurney and just like put me in the hallway, like not a room. They're just like, all right, you just stay here. And there's just people just like, just moaning and groaning, and like you see everybody. And I'm like,
when people do that, do you think it's one person that actually feels it, and then other? It's like when someone's honking their horn in a parking lot, and then other people start doing it, just to have fun,
out moan each other.
Exactly,
trying to get it louder.
I feel like at some point, if you're there for an hour, I'd be like, just cuz like fuck it.
I did learn that if you say it has something to do with like your heart, then you get like a speedy.
Really?
Yeah. Because the first time it was 13 hours, and then the second time that it happened, I was like, yeah, like my heart's
been skipping beats,
Yeah. And like anything to do with like your heart, then they're like, okay, well, we don't know because we can't. Like we need to like get in there and see what the fuck it is. So.
Well, there's also ones where like if you have, say you have pets at home and there's like a fire, tell them you have kids inside or something or whatever. Like they'll go in there for your kid and be like, get the dog. My kid's a dog.
I have pets, kids.
Sorry, the kids aren't there. Dog's still there.
Dog's still kid. I think my dog is next to the kid, but like.
They say all the worst things.
But yeah, so there was something like that too. Like you say, like it's a fire when you need, like instead of like rape or something. Or cut that word out. But yeah, I mean, because like no, for some reason people just walk by. But you yell fire, more people want to run and help. So if you ever get like jumped, you yell fire. I guess is like the big thing.
I can take a fire on, but not a raper.
Yeah, dude.
Like in the ocean, like fire.
You're drowning. Fire.
Fire.
It's funny that you can yell fire outside, but if you yell inside, you get in trouble. You know what I mean? Can't yell fire.
I wonder if you're getting attacked and you yell it. They give you like half of all right, something was happening.
No, I was saying you should fire this guy, not actual fire.
I think that like would work in small towns. I think it'd be harder to work that out in like a city or like if you
yell anything around here, no one's giving a fuck. First off, everyone's got their headphones in.
I think I get that kind of like, yelling and crazy stuff like pretty much on a daily basis, just walking to work every day.
Yeah.
Just like randos just yelling, or like sometimes it scares the shit out of me because I'll see somebody and I'm like, oh, it's just a normal person walking, and all of a sudden they'll be like, dude, I fucking yell something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, what the
dude,
fuck?
I've been having issues.
I didn't know you were crazy.
Like I go to movies a lot now, and I've been like, anyone that gets up and leaves the theater and comes back, I'm like, they're about to shoot this place up, and I'm instantly out of the movie and just watching like that or the door, and it's like if something happens, like I can jump over here and I'll throw this food at him, and my girl's like looking at me like, why aren't you staring at this? I'm like,
got a Jason Bourne plan and shit,
bro. And then they just come back with like a giant popcorn and a drink. I'm like, oh Jesus!
Like how many guns is in that popcorn? 22. You can probably take a couple of those hits before I can.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like it's such a fun. And like I always think instantly that I'm gonna be the guy.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. You should have that mentality. That is exactly the proper male mentality you should have. Like,
like I got this. Like I'm gonna save this entire theater. And
the thing is, not enough women have. You want that equal rights. I want to hear some fucking like, I got it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'll take down the gunman.
I think that's pretty accurate. Anytime I go to a theater, it's definitely like I think there's going to be an active shooter,
right?
Or I'm so annoyed by everyone that's sitting around me.
You just wish there's an active shooter.
I might become the active shooter.
Yeah, when's someone come shoot this place up?
Yeah, I'm like, God, I fucking hate all these dumbass people that are sitting around me that are talking and fucking.
You know what's wild? When they had that one shooter in
the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, some people got shot in the theater next to them. So I saw this story about them people surviving a shooting, and this girl was like, I think it was still that movie, but it was just like another showing in the theater over, and she's like, she got shot in the arm or in the leg, and she was just like, and her friend was just like, what's going on? Because like they don't know what's going on, and she was just like, I think. Like something like whatever, and she was like bleeding everywhere.
No way.
And they like left the theater just being like, what the fuck? And her friends were kind of annoyed.
Got cut
like,
from the chair.
Yeah, for real, they just
hit by a bug.
Yeah, man, they had no idea what's happening.
Forrest Gump did the movie.
But isn't that like crazy? Like they didn't live through this craziness in the theater. But yeah, she just like walks out the theater and then you walk out and then later they find out that there was this giant shooting in the theater next to them. But I'm kind of like, well, you didn't really survive the shooter.
Yeah.
Like
asterisks next to that.
Yeah, like that story.
Like Roger Maris's home run record.
Yeah, bro, for real. It was like you were in the next theater, you caught a stray.
Yeah.
And you walked out of the theater while people went like, I don't think.
I wonder what movie they were seeing because like The Dark Knight has a lot of sound effects that would sound like shooting and shit like that. And if they were watching,
I think they were watching The Dark Knight,
Bug's Life or some shit. Oh, okay.
But it was just like a different timing of the movie because
okay.
there was a bunch of showings. Because it was like the night it came out, or some like wild night. But that's just so like wild to be like that. I don't know how that person made the show. Like there's so many people to ask, and it's like, well, I was in the next theater over.
It's
it's
an
like,
interesting story.
Well, there
though,
wasn't
man.
anybody alive.
Yeah, well, let me ask the producer if
What
this.
do you
If this
think?
and then we never had to go to the
And no
top.
one's in the,
How many people do we have in this? All right, we still need a couple more. All right, get the one that got shot next door. Like, we need to fill out this hour. You know what I mean? Like,
interview her now?
yeah, because the whole time I just kept thinking that. I was like, that's got to be the weirdest. Like, everyone else, the next door is like, there's gas bombs, like, there's terror, there's a guy running around with a gun, and you're just watching a movie. No one else in that theater has any idea you got shot.
Yeah,
you're just
for
like,
real.
God damn.
Yeah, that's such a weird fucking.
Like,
is it heartburn? I don't know.
Yeah, right?
God
Because she
damn,
said
I
she had to like
hate-
check, and then she saw the blood, and she was like, let me go out there. And like, what? She didn't even know she got like.
Did I spill my soda on you? This fucking weird. Dude, yeah.
That's so wild.
You've had
though,
that because
man.
like I don't know if you ever gotten like like cut yourself in like in the winter time, right? And like
oh yeah,
blood's
dude.
it's when your face is cold, you just like what the fuck is like this liquid and shit. Like your face bleeds really real fucking fast. So like I don't know, fucking like sledding or fucking skateboard, whatever I was doing in the wintertime when you fucking first off your skin's kind of numb and then you feel this like warmth and you're like it takes a second because like it doesn't matter how many times I get fucking injured, the first thing that hits you is just like what's that weird feeling again? Oh, pain. Yeah.
I do think once you see it, it's worse.
Yeah, but in a dark movie theater with a bunch of other fucking stimuli,
You might not know because I fell off my bike recently. Just riding, some guy cut me off. I hit him on my bike. Like I was the asshole, but like I hit my knee real tough. And the whole time I was sitting down on the side of the road, and I was like, it hurts, but I'm fine. And then I saw it, and it was just nasty bloody, and I was like it. I just assumed it was like my pain level even went up when I saw it because I was like, oh, this must hurt because how nasty it is.
Of course.
So even my body reacted to that, where it's like, she was probably like, oh, this hurts, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
maybe.
if you're not witness to it and you don't know, it's like almost like eating something that's like an edible, but you
Dude,
don't
that's
know.
so
And then you're
fucking
like,
scary,
why
yeah.
am I fucking
Oh, for
like,
sure.
what the fuck? Like it's hard
Yeah,
to
that's a
diagnose
great example.
that.
Edibles are like
like
fucking
without
perfect, yeah.
like seeing the actual thing or knowing that you're.
I don't know how many times I've taken an edible. I'm like, dude, I just feel great right now. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, that's right. I took a fucking like huge edible right now.
Bro, I've been doing those mushroom gummies, and I like I don't like. They should all be single dose gummies. Like if you're gonna buy double dose, just put double the amount of gummies in there.
Or like a perforation in there. You know what I mean?
So something so you know, because my buddy gave me some that have always been the single one. I took two that were doubles, and I was like just riding my bike. I was going to jump on the train. I had like the worst panic attack, like out of nowhere. And then I had to like assess, like I don't think I can get on this train. I'm like losing it, and it's like, oh, the mushrooms. And then I felt fucking fine. Like it was so like anxiety.
The second you decode that shit, like you took something, you took drugs. That's why you're feeling this way. Remind yourself that.
But
Like
it
my
takes
body
so long to like kick in. that you
Exactly.
take
I totally
that shit-
forgot.
Like I did that too. Like,
Which is so funny that you like purposely did that to have an experience and you forgot that you did it. And you're like, I feel a little off right now. And you immediately think there's something outside element. You're like, no, moron. You took a substance. That's why you feel this way. Yeah.
I did that like a few months ago. I had some like corn nuts that were rolled in or like weed or something that he gave me a long time ago. And I was like, oh, what are these doing at the bottom of my sock drawer? I'm like, oh, I'll have some of those, whatever. And fucking ate them. And then it was like an hour later, my parents called and I was like having some, phone call with them. And I'm like, listening to myself talk and I'm like slow. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh shit, I ate those things.
Mom, you never.
And then I got anxiety. I was like, oh God, now it's just all gonna keep getting worse. Now I know that it's happening. Like I fucking ate this.
You gotta get off the phone. That's like you gotta land the plane and get the fuck out of that conversation. I've done that before too, where I'd like just start getting too like a truth serum. You're like, you always said happy birthday to Donnie, a little more happy than me, and I was just like, oh, I love you. I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah, right. I get to the point where my parents, though, like my mom is like, they're a lot older and they just talk about nothing. But then I feel like I'm trying to like really just be like, you know what, man, be a good son and like listen. My dad right now is trying to win the lottery. Like he thinks he can figure it out.
Yeah.
He's not a mathematician. He's not a codes guy. He's literally sent me a list last week, bro, of all the times these numbers hit. and like what's the best chances of hitting. He called me like 2 weeks ago, like, Mike, I won. He's like, all my numbers hit the lottery, and he said it just like that. I was like, and you didn't win because I know by your voice. So what? He's like, it hit in Texas, and he's in Florida. And I was like, so you didn't hit. That's not how it worked. He's like, but I noticed that these. So he's like, he's spending his retirement trying to decode the lottery.
I like that. I respect that.
It's very like, but I'm on the phone with him for like an hour. And at first I was, in my head, like, what the fuck are you wasting your time for? But it's like, you're 70-something years old. Just win the lottery, bro.
He's doing it for you.
Just win the lottery, man. Like, go for it, dog.
Yeah.
You can do it, man. I believe in you.
Motivating, like,
your dad was John Nash.
Yeah. Well, it's like he's like so mad he's broke as in like older, and it's like, well, our whole lives you gave all of our money to the church. Yeah. So what do you think?
And play the lottery.
That's not the. You're better off playing the lottery,
man. Keep trying, Michael.
Like, you should.
My dad's got an accent for some reason.
Well, he's a talent hunter. Yeah, man, they're immigrants, foreigners.
Okay.
So, so you were pretty right.
All right.
Good job. It was very good.
Picked it up. It's very foreign thing to do. Like, I will win the lottery.
Do you ever play the lottery yourself? Do you ever play the lottery?
No. I don't like gambling of any kind because I feel like anytime I don't, it's just I'm wasting money.
Oh, dude, I feel the exact same way.
Right,
I feel fucking
I can't do sports.
Do you ever buy coffee from like Starbucks or from a coffee shop?
Rarely.
Well,
I smoke a lot of weed.
Okay.
Is that like equivalent? I just don't.
I guess. I don't know. I had somebody tell me that it was another guy who's retired, but he always plays the lottery. And he's like, yeah,
if you make your coffee at home and spend the coffee money on lottery tickets.
Yeah. He was like, yeah, like people go and spend like, $5-6 a day on coffee. I'll spend, $20 maybe a week or something like that on scratch offs or whatever. And he goes, the coffee, there's no return on investment. He goes, with lottery tickets, there's no guarantee on return on investment, but there is a possibility.
Yeah.
And he's like, so that's how he like rationalized it. Well, I was like, that's an interesting way to look at it.
I heard that analogy with these clips for like podcasts and comedy is every day we're given a scratch off ticket. And we can use it and post something, or we can just not use our scratch off ticket that day and be like, whatever. Because like there's so many times I've posted something where I thought was going to do great and it doesn't, and something I thought was going to do terrible and it does great. And then you're like, oh yeah, everyone has these scratch off tickets every day. So I definitely see like the idea of that. But I also just feel like, I don't know, with the amount of, I've seen people too many times up, never get out. Like all my buddies will call me, I was up 3,000 at the casino last night. It's like, and what did you leave with? Because you didn't leave with exactly
$6,000.
Like my buddy literally is going on a cruise, and I asked him, he's like, it's all free, baby. He's like, you're going on a free cruise? Like, yeah. Like, how? He's like, well, I lost a ton of money at Atlantic City, so they gave me all this shit because they know I'm going to gamble on their cruise. It's like, so you didn't get a free cruise. You lost $3,000. And they're like, this fucker spends money. So let's give him a free cruise, and he'll spend that and way more on gambling.
For sure.
And it's just like, bro, it is so, man. I don't know.
I do like the feeling you get if you do buy a lottery ticket or a scratch off. I like the fact of having it in your pocket and fantasizing about like what if you win. I think that's like the best thing to take away for me when I get a lottery ticket. It's not necessarily like the winning or the losing. It's like that, just being able to live like in a fantasy in your head for like until the numbers are called and you don't win.
Well, it's funny because you always get me when it's like the damn near $1 billion jackpots. I'll end up buying like a fucking like quick pick $10 or something.
Yeah, that's why they get big so fast too. Is because everyone that doesn't play is like, I'll play. So it goes like 5 billion, 10
I'll forget that I have it, and then I'm like walking around. I'm like, that's right, I got that lottery ticket. I wonder if I won. And I'm like, these people didn't know that I'm a billionaire. Like just walking around, and then I fucking scan it, and there's nothing more depressing when it says this ticket's not a winner. I'm like, fuck, you got me again.
It's also, I think about how many people, because I know I've bought tickets before that I've never checked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like how many people just bought, cause I just in New York, you just play, but my dad always was like, oh, let's do some randoms, and you get it in the ticket and you just forget to check, and it's like, man, you could have been a winner and have no idea.
Yeah, for sure.
And just fucking, they're like, oh.
But then I also don't trust those little scanners that they have at 7-Eleven, because I'm like, how do I know that this isn't just set up to say not a winner? Then I throw it in the trash can, you get it, now you're the winner.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. I just don't, man, even like the casinos and stuff, I just always feel like I'm doing it wrong. Like I'm always like, it's already against me, and I'm doing like, I would play, like I would do like sports betting when I was a pizza delivery guy, and every time I'd win, they'd always rope me into using my winnings to bet again. Yeah. So I was like, I never took home money. Yeah. Like I would get money and then I would use that again, and then I'd lose that. Yeah. So like you like, and the guy that worked there was like the bookie, like my boss, and it was just funny. It was like,
he's like, hey Mike, why don't we use your paycheck real quick?
No joke.
On the sports
he would tell me, he's like, do you want to do the other half? He'd call me Rockstar because like I was just a failing musician. So he's just like, come here, Rockstar. Do you want to use half your paycheck for like whatever? He's like, I think you can win this, and he'd like set me up on these impossible parlays. And then I was just like, always put my money in.
Brett Favre breaks his arm off,
bro, for real. It was like, and I don't know. I was like 17, 18 years old, just being like, yeah, man, I'm gonna fucking win. And then sometimes I would win a crazy parlay, and he was like, all right, double or nothing, Rockstar. Let's go. That's how you make real money. And he was like, all right, I believe you. And you're Guido with these giant chains and rings. He's like, you make real money, Rockstar.
It would have been great if like your last day there's like, hey, just want you to know, kid, this rings from your first paycheck. This one's like,
dude, exactly. Because I thought that half the time when I would just lose it all. I was like, I bet he's not even putting in these bets.
Oh, did I?
And he's just keeping my money and just telling me you should bet on this next. And I was like, yeah, dude, you're right.
Give me the 500. I mean, you should bet on this.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Because I'd always do that shit, and like it was, man, it was so. So I just always feel like I'm doing, like I'd be at like playing craps or something, and I'd watch, and people are just playing. It's like they're playing on another level, and like, oh, dude, I feel like I'm easily the reason that this place is as nice.
Sure.
as
I'm the mark.
I might as well just give you my money, and then rather than watch the dice go around the fucking table wherever it happens.
Vegas is fun. I think Vegas is fun to like walk around and like look at all the crazy shit because there's a lot of crazy shit there.
You haven't been there enough. It's not that fun. It's like a
I've
fucking
not recently,
cocaine prostitute den.
I mean, like you go in all the hotels and stuff, and they're all like, you know, decked out and have all this weird technology and like cool shows and all that stuff. Like that stuff's fun to like. I don't know. It's a whole vibe.
So we got, Avery from the Improv. So we were walking around Vegas, and we're all like wasted as fuck, and we're walking on this billboard, and it says like Carrot Top whatever, and Avery's like, I have his phone number, and we're like, no, you fucking don't. So he pulls out his phone, and he's like, what's his real name? Because he's like, I have it saved under his real name, and then his real name's like Scott Thompson. So we look him up, and then he's like, oh shit, and he texts him like, yo, dude, like, you met me 6 years ago, like whatever, like we should kick it. And then Carrot Top hit him back and was like, come by tomorrow to the show. So we got tickets to the show.
No way.
And then he hung out with us after the show.
No way.
And like we told him we were comics and stuff. Bro, Carrot Top is one of the best comedy shows I've ever seen. Yeah. And I've been to so many shows, bro. It was to the point where like he knows he's being it's corny. So like someone's corny, but it's well written, it's amazing. Like you're shocked on like, oh yeah, this guy is a person for a reason. Like
pro for like forever. Yeah. Like, since we were kids, that guy's been fucking doing his shtick.
Yeah, and it's like, funny.
He's got it dialed in. I
think there's a reason why he's successful. His top is part of his name. You know what I mean? He's got to be on the top. Dude, like Carrot Bottom.
But it's crazy to watch something like that. And then he was talking to us as comics afterwards. I'm like, bro, you're Carrot Top, and you're like so dialed in on jokes and showing us like his first. He's like, yeah, I had this, talking about it, like all the first things he made, and this. He's like, I'm working on this one right now, and he's showing us these props that are in the middle of being. He like makes them all himself, and it's like, bro, you're such a genius, and like you're like the biggest punching bag in comedy, and you're the coolest dude ever. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, man.
That's underdog for sure. Yeah, like that's
it was so wild, cool, man. He was so I definitely after that trip in Vegas, that was my last time I was there, and I was like, okay, this because he's a G, man. He does like 3 shows, and he flies to Florida for 2 nights because he lives in a mansion there, and then he flies back and does it's like back and forth constantly. Yeah.
That's he was in an episode of that show Hacks. That's on it's like a show about a comedy writer for like an older comic that's like trying to revamp her career, and
that's cool.
They have a lot of like cameos in that, and he was in it in like his mansion, and like there's like a whole scene, but like he's like still like I think he's like respected amongst very other comics, absolutely. Like how can you not, like with a career that has sustained
and watching him you really do realize sometimes that like some comics are trying to be too cool. And there's nothing less funny than too cool. Yeah. And he just went the opposite of like funny first. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, man, like he's the only prop guy still, really. Yeah. And it's not because it's not cool. Like it's because it's not cool to do, but it's funny as hell. Like Dimitri Martin kind of played around with some stuff, and like the Amazing Jonathan, and like these other, but like for the most,
Steve Martin was kind of the OG of that kind of shit. Because he basically kind of started that whole thing of like basically his whole concept of how can you be the worst comic possible, right? And then kind of leaned into that. And like, not that Carrot Top's in the same vein, but like, he's making fun of himself, right?
Yeah.
While doing creative fucking jokes. And
you could tell it was super and you could tell like even when stuff was really bad, he's like, I know this is so dumb. And then he would do something else. And but he was so like,
cool,
it was great, man. It was phenomenal, but it also felt very like, this is a Vegas show. Yeah. Like if you did this, I could see it being not hitting that. Like when you go to Vegas, you want something like that. When you see a comedy show, you don't necessarily want to see like a Nate Bargatze or somebody. You just sit there and quiet, like, oh, that's nice. It's like that's like a freaking, that's a show, man. Like, but it was cool. I actually got a lot of respect for him because he was like, he shouted us out during the show. He's like, we got some comics in the audience. And I did feel like a couple of times, because he didn't know who we were, like which one was Avery, who was who. But he sat us in this one section and he just like pointed us out and had the crowd like give it up for us. That we have like young comics in the crowd. So he was like so cool.
What a fucking dude.
And he's like the fact that he wanted to meet us because he was just like, I want to see who else is
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like we did. It's like there's no reason you want to even meet. And the guy went up to us after the show. He's like, stick in your seats. Scott wants to see you guys after the show. And it was like,
dude, that's
so dope,
cool.
Man.
That's like
the shit
awesome
right
Vegas story.
Yeah.
That's fucking so cool. It makes me like Carrot Top even more.
Right.
So what's your cool Vegas story?
I don't have one, but one of our guests, what is his he has a Carrot Top and Amazing Jonathan and Dimebag Darrell's story.
All together or just three separate?
Dustin Ibarra.
Ybarra. Yeah, all together. So he used to like live out there, and he knew those guys because they would all go to like the comedy shows that he was at. Like it was like little like open mic things, and those guys would all kind of hang out there. And so he became like really good friends with all those guys. Go to like house parties at Dimebag Darrell's house, and then became friends with them, like good friends. And so like they would go out to. He's like, I would go out to dinner a lot of times, and it'd be like Amazing Jonathan, Carrot Top, and Dimebag Darrell. I'm like, what? That's like the craziest.
I know.
Like combo of people.
Dimebag was like my idol growing up. Man. He is the coolest dude. When he got murdered, bro, I was supposed to go because he got murdered on his tour. I was living in Albany, New York, and it was in Ohio where he got shot. So it was on the run. It was like 2 nights later, and I missed his show because I had a puppy that like bit my ex. It was like one of those, like, he was a puppy, but he was a giant dog. So I was like, it was this whole thing we were dealing with. And I was like, you know what, man, I have a lot of drama going on right now. I'll miss this show. Yeah. I'll catch them on the next round. And then my buddy is from Ohio, and right when it happened, he called me because he's just like, yo, I just got hit up by a bunch of my buddies in Ohio that he knew how much I love Dimebag. He's like, Dimebag dead. He got murdered. And I was like, no fucking way, dude. And I remember I had a Sony Vaio computer and it had like the ticker and nothing. And like 10 minutes later, it said shooting at Ohio Rock Club. Yeah. And I just got like instant chills. And was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And little by little, it came out that like that dude just
that video footage of that is
crazy, man. Yeah, that's one of the most terrifying things as a performer.
For sure, absolutely.
Is like especially your headbanging, your music. There's music. You're in your safe zone, just rocking out, and it's like, bro, and in front of his brother. Yeah, it's like, dog, man.
I mean, I would imagine like you would think that too as a comic, like, oh, I hope I don't piss anybody off with this joke.
Dude, I think yeah, like, I think of that a lot,
like
man.
More insulting than like music, you would think, like you can really fucking piss
I think you're just
kind
of, he's a little more hidden in the noise and the fucking motion of the audience and shit that. Like a comedy club's a little bit more fucking reserved. People are seated and shit that, but like,
right, but I'm saying you're telling like an opinion or a story.
No, I know, but like
where you can really
again, you have like
you can.
I know what you mean. Though. It would be, you might be a little bit more obvious being in a comedy show, just even looking around a little bit a lot. You're like, who at a music show, everyone's just
there's a lot of commotion and shit and stuff. Then also too, you're fucking like playing. You're in the groove of like playing your fucking instrument,
and no one knows what's going on. There's a performance. Some guy walks on stage. No one's gonna really It's like, oh, is he one of their techs?
Yeah, it's part of the act.
Is he? Dude. When I was in Seattle, this guy got attacked. This is crazy. The story crazy. So I worked at this comedy club, the Comedy Underground. I was a door guy there for like a while, and then I became a manager. This like right before that. Like I was just there forever. I just had to say manager for the girls.
I met you when you were a manager.
Yeah. No, but so this guy came in. He went by Jesus Christ, but his name was like, it was either Chris or Steve Baldwin. His last name was Baldwin. I remember that because I was like, oh shit. So, but he signed up as Jesus Christ every week, and he was like a wacko. He'd go up randomly. He'd hold his giant double-ended dildo and just shake it and just be crazy. You know what I'm saying? So the club was like, yeah, we're not putting him up anymore. So one day he just outside of the club, he's telling everyone's sign up as Jesus Christ. You can't bump all of us. And we were all like, nah, dog. Like you do your thing. We're gonna sign up with our name and get up on stage. Yeah. So then he wrote this giant manifesto against the manager at the time at the club, James Milton. All the stuff about how he's like, whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go up here. It's just really gnarly, like just 2-page long thing. He was handing it to everybody that was there. So then I went down. I told James like, yo, that guy's writing stuff about you. You might want to go check this out. So he went upstairs, flipped out on the guy. He's like, get the fuck out of here. Went nuts on him. So then one of the comics that was at the club felt bad for this dude. And he's like, hey man, this is like an actual club. There's other mics you can go to that'll always put you up. You know what I mean? You show up, you go up no matter what. Yeah. So he told him about this club, the Local 907. So then this guy who's a problem, no one likes him. He starts going up at a no bumping club, right? Like you go up, you sign up. So then after a while, they start not letting him on because you're like, yo, this guy's fucking crazy, you know? So he loses his shit. And like, so imagine if where the door is on one side, then there's a stage, and then there's another door. But the doors they're just open. There's no doors on the hinge. It's like 2 rooms. Yeah. So then they're separated by these 2, spaces, like doorways. And then in the middle was a stage. So it's facing this side. So behind the stage is like a whole other room behind you with like an arcade and stuff. Yeah. So he was in the other room. He showed up with a baseball bat, bro, a metal baseball bat and batting gloves, walked from the back room up to the side of the stage and hit the host in the head with a bat twice. No way. Knocked him out, broke his skull, fucked him up, dude. Fucked him up, right? So then everyone, at first hit, they think it's an act because he gets hit in the head. And everyone's just like, oh, this is weird. Dylan just got hit in the head with a bat. Then when Dylan's on the ground, bing, he hits him again. So then everyone rushes the stage to stop the guy. So then this comic, Simon Kaufman, gets his leg, he tears all this stuff in his ankle, like from people jumping on the stage, from landing on him and stuff. Yeah. And the guy gets beat to a pulp, gets arrested, whatever. Attempted murder. He's like in jail right now. But then Simon's leg was all messed up and everyone felt really bad for him. And everyone was like, it makes sense,
Chipped in and bought him a new leg.
Chipped in and whatever. So everyone started chipping in and giving him money. Yeah. And I didn't say anything, but I was like, yo, dog, I don't know if anyone knows this. The comic that told that guy to go to this club with Simon Kaufman. No way. The whole time I was like, yo, he's the one that told the guy to go there. So he better have jumped on the fucking stage. Right. Yeah. Oh shit. And like, everyone felt bad, but it's still, you feel bad. It's not his fault. He just he felt bad for this open mic. He was like, yo, dude, just go to this club. Yeah. It's every Monday. But it was so funny because everyone's like, yo, he's such a hero. This guy, he jumped on stage. And I was like, yeah, I mean, he did send the guy there, but exactly,
I mean, it was like he was trying to do something nice for somebody. He was trying to be nice on both ends of it and end up getting fucked.
Yeah, but the comic guy, it was like messed him up. Like he was only like 3 years in, but he got all these opportunities. Like when Craig Gass came to the Neptune Theater, he had him open and all this, but the kid just wasn't ready. It was one of those, like if it happened and like later in his career, it would have like
gauze in his head,
bro. But it was just like you're like an open micer, and you just got like, oh shit, everyone in the world, like dude, literally like Colin Quinn and people were talking about it. Like it was like national comedy news for a second because like a comic got attacked on stage, like. Yeah. And then, that wasn't even over something he said. That was over not letting a crazy guy go up, which is like, man, dude, that's so, yeah, man, I get nervous when like we just got, like I was running the venue. We just like sold it to a group of other comics. Yeah. Like, and most of it, people don't like, I'm sick of the crazy drama. And it's not even the comic drama. It's the crazies that sign up and show up. It's like, bro, you have no idea how many nights I'd be in the back of the room just staring at certain people. I'm like, I just don't. Yeah. I don't know about this guy. And then something crazy happens and we have to like guide them outside because like I don't want to say the wrong thing or trigger you to like do something because I've seen that already where it's like a space where everyone's allowed to do something and you're not. Yeah. It's like they go nuts, man. So it's like at least with music and other shit, it's like if you can't play guitar, you can't sign up at this open mic. Right. With comedy, it's just like, are you funny? Just try, hey, go talk. Yeah, So it's like anyone goes up. Yeah.
Well, speaking of comedy shows, this is the part of the podcast where we like to ask our guests where they're performing next, the things they got going on, how they can contact you, your Gram, your TikTok, YouTube, any of that stuff if you got it.
Word. Good shit. I only have like a couple things in the books. Like MikeMasilotti.com is like up to date with stuff, but I'm going to Italy just to like visit family and like go do kick it out there. But I'm doing some shows out there. So they'll all be in Rome. It's like October 25th and 26th. And then I've, San Diego and then just LA stuff coming up. But
Sweet.
But yeah, I mean, you can find like my dates there. If you want to follow me, you can go to the Find My app and request my location. You can get up to date where I'm at all times.
Check out his Instagram. Your Instagram's funny, man. You got a bunch of clips up there. Yeah, like you want to get a feel for the kind of comedy and stuff that Mike's doing. Like definitely check it out. It's got a bunch of good stuff.
Thanks, dude. And if you I do a true crime podcast. I'm gonna start getting. I do it like by myself. Like for a while, I'm gonna try to like revamping and start getting guests on. So I'll have you guys come on and like promote the pod.
Ooh, buddy, that's my alley, dude. I'm a true crime fucking aficionado.
Dude. I watch all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I developed. This is like a true crime nerd part of me. Yeah. Is if you go to truecrimetravelmap.com, I have over almost 700 real locations. I put a map together on Google of like a location with a story about what happened there. So if it's like a murder, if it's like someone Ted Bundy's childhood home, if body remains were found somewhere, like, so when you're traveling, when I go on the road, I love going to true crime locations. So I just keep adding them to this one map because I don't have like one spot where you can find it all. So I built that map that you can interact with and like add more stuff to it. I keep adding to it every week. Cool. But then on my podcast is based, I just pick one location off the map.
What's the name of the podcast?
Dark Travelers.
Dark Travelers.
So that's the podcast.
Where can we find that on?
YouTube. It's doing really good. And YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Okay. But mostly the YouTube will be like the full. I do like mini documentaries right now, and then I clip those up for like the gram and like TikTok. But YouTube will have like the full, like from like 10-minute episodes to like 40 minutes, depending on how like gnarly the stuff is. But I try to go in depth, put like every picture up, and at the end of the episodes I have a picture of like what the location looks like now and then how to get to there and like directions to like find the spot. So when you're traveling, you know, you can like see these really cool locations, because they'll be like in the middle of New York City. I was in Little Italy, and you're just like, oh, this is where I forgot the guy. He's like some big mob boss was gunned down, and you go up to the building and you see the fucking bullet holes still in the brick. And it's like, that's people have no idea that they're walking in and out of this spot. And like, I love seeing just that all over. Like, I mean, in Wilshire and Fairfax where Biggie got gunned down. And like, I used
to live right in the neighborhood where fucking the Black Dahlia's body was found.
Oh, word?
Yeah, it's right behind my post office.
That's crazy. That's what, Elizabeth, bro, it's it's crazy how like life just goes on. And when you look at all these areas, and like, I'm so interested in like what happened here. Like I visited the Colorado Aurora shooting, and I drove around back. Like on my episode, you'll see it. And like we had a white car. We parked it right where he parked his white car, and security rolled right up like, you guys can't be here. And I was like, is this where it happened though? And the guy's just like, you can't be here, man. So, but yeah, I love that shit. So we try to be respectful and everything. Like the pod's not like, you know, it's not about that. It's just like, I'm so interested in like where, I don't know, like the infamy of our history is like these infamous locations is like, it's just, I don't know. People are living in these houses, and just like, I believe there's got to be some wild energy there.
Absolutely,
like there's no way.
Sure. There's definitely some fucking
that, especially how some of these murders that went down. There's no way that this area is cool. Like is fine.
Some sage.
Yeah,
well, that's fucking cool, man.
So yeah, I'm a huge true crime fan. So yeah, hit me up on the road. You'll see that. I'm trying to put that out a lot more. That's a big thing I'm pushing. And then I wrote a comedy book called Comedies for Dummies. I've been doing comedy like over like a little over a decade. So it's just like stories of like everything I've learned, like the stuff that no one wants to tell you growing up, like starting out, like just like, you know, it goes to like how to write a joke that I like read and researched. I've helped that out, as well as like when you're sending emails, what you should send, like when you're trying to contact people, how do you go on the road? How do you produce a show? Like just all the stuff I've learned, I just kind of put together. And it's on Amazon. I sell it when I'm on the road too, but it's Comedy is for Dummies. Awesome. But that's like the projects I'm basically doing.
Fucking sweet. Check all that out. Check all those things out.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, man. I appreciate it. I'm glad we made it happen.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys watching this. I'll have you guys on for sure. I like to have whenever it's a pod, like a pair, so it's like we can promote the pod and stuff. So I'll definitely have you guys on.
Sure, that'd be awesome.
Let us know, man.
So I watch all the crime, murder documentaries. I watch like so many of that shit. I'm watching the Aaron Hernandez thing right now.
Oh, I heard that's good.
So watch the original documentary. I'm watching the Hulu like TV made for TV version.
It's rough when there's actors. The acting I want real pictures and
I know.
I'd rather have people sit down and talk and then show me real pictures than like people acting it out.
I always watch the documentary version of anything, like even the Hernandez. What is that? No,
Aaron Hernandez, yeah.
No, Aaron Hernandez and then Menendez brothers. The actual documentaries of those first before like the TV version. Because it has all the real shit in it. You know, like I'd rather watch that too. On that. But Tony Klein, where can people see you at? What do you got
Tony Klein comedian.com. I don't know what I have. Just check my Instagram. My website is currently up to date. So at Tony Klein Comedian on Instagram, TonyKleinComedian.com. Eric, where can the good people find you?
On this podcast at go to the Eric and Tony Show on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Every Monday we do 60-second clips. I'll be blowing up your inbox and tagging you as a collaborator and all that stuff.
Sounds good.
So
I'll collab
clips every day. And then the full audio version on Spotify every Monday, and then the full video on YouTube every Monday. And then you can go to the ericandtonyshow.com to purchase any apparel, hats, t-shirts, mugs, all that kind of stuff. You want to help support the channel. You can also go to shortdogdesigns.com. You can buy some of my gear that I sell to promote my dog, miniature dachshund.
Nice.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got going on. But thank you again, Mike, for coming on the podcast. Thanks, it's fucking awesome time. Good hang, and looking forward to being on yours. Man.
Yeah, dude, 100%. You guys will see them on Dark Traveler soon. And sorry about my ugly face today. I look better usually. Peace.